Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about welfare of youth, and youth is also an important part of our Indian. For any society or any country, nation to grow, because they are the human capital. They are the asset for a nation, and youth development and youth empowerment is equally important for any nation to progress. We all know that youth are enthusiastic, they are innovative, dynamic in nature, and the most important section because they show strong passion, motivation, and willpower, which makes them most valuable or other most valuable asset for a nation. If you talk about fostering economic, cultural, as well as political development of nations. So, human youth as important human resource. They determine a country's index, or they are the index in terms of prosperity, in terms of stability, in terms of economic potential. So, a country's ability and potential for growth is largely dependent upon its youth population, and how the youth had been how the youth had been instrumental in bringing about this economic, social development in a country. So, it is about building the capacities, the intellect, providing them their skill. Maybe it would be basic skills or entrepreneur skills, education. There are various ways of determining their growth, looking after their welfare and youth, their interest. So the energy and passion of the youth, if can be utilized properly, effectively brings or impacts the society at large. It makes the nation more progressive, and since youth are the creative digital innovators these days, they actively participate and get involved in community work. They are active citizens, eagerly waiting to have a positive contribution, not only to the growth, but to ensure sustainable development and stability in the system, in the society. And this section of population, if the youth are being properly harnessed, motivated, skilled, and streamlined properly, they could bring up rapid progress for any nation. The youth present the most dynamic and vibrant section of the population, and India has the largest youth population in the world. As per the report of technical group of population projections projected constituted by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, youth is in the age group of 15 to 29 years, comprises 27.2% of the population for the year 2021, which is expected to decrease to 22.7 by 2036, but still huge in absolute numbers of 345 million. Then the Department of Youth Affairs, under the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, it is a nodal agency for framing the policies, programs, and rules regulations for the welfare of the youth. And in order to optimally tap constructive and creative energies of the youth, the Department of Youth Affairs pursues the twin objectives of personality building and nation building, that is, developing the personality of youth and involving them in various nation building activities. The department also recognized adolescence as an important segment of the youth, and most of the issues concerning the youths are the functions of other ministries and departments like education, employment and training, health and family welfare. The role of Department of Youth Affairs is to act as a facilitator and a catalytic agent. Then India is almost on the threshold of a unique demographic dividend, with young persons within the age group of 13 to 35 years comprising more than 40% of the total population. This cohort, which is the most vibrant and dynamic segment, constitute potentially in the most valuable as a most valuable human resources. In fact, this youth bulge in the light of its impact on work participation and dependency ratios has been called a window to be seized before the window closes. This poses its own challenges with reference to inclusive growth and the need to bridge divides. The requirements for this will transcend sectoral programs, and would require a variety of programs and interventions which would be addressing at youth in a multidimensional manner. It would help in exploring opportunities so that the youths are able to make their own many-sided contribution to the national development. They should carve their own niche, and it should not be forgotten that their involvement and participation is extremely essential and significant if we want to talk about a nation's growth and progress. There are certain definitions and how the youth has been defined in different in context. Conventionally, period from adolescent to middle age is termed as youth. Age constitute Age constitute the determining characteristics in the definition of youth by various agencies. The UN adopt the age group of 15 to 24 for defining the youth. The National Youth Policy 2003 defined youth as in the age group of 15 to 35 in India. However, National Youth Policy 2014 has modified it and defined youth as a person in the age group of 15 to 29 years. India accounted for the substantial share of world population, and by 210, India accounted for 17.8% of the world population, recording an increase of 2.27% in its share since 1970. This growth is projected to continue, and by 2030, Indians would account for 17.97 global population. India's share in the decennial addition to global population increased from 18.1 during 1970-1980 to 22.87 during 1990 to 2000, and is projected to decline to 18.69 by 2020 or 2030, by 2020 and 2030. So the growth pattern in the youth segment differs substantially from that of general population. The total youth population increased from 168 million in 1971 to 423 million in 2011. This increase was in the form of annual addition of roughly 5.36 and 6.6 million during 70s, 80s and 90s respectively. And during the period of 2001 to 2011, addition is substantially high at 7.4 million. The share of youth population in total population has been increasing continuously from the level of 30.6% in the year 1971 to 34.8% in the year 2011. A lot of policy initiative has been taken in order to look after the welfare and development of youth. With the adoption of International Year of Youth in 1985, a separate Department of Youth Affairs and Sports was created in Government of India, and this department took initiative to formulate a national youth policy after wide-ranging consultations with all the concerned agencies, including the voluntary organizations. A draft national youth policy was formulated and discussed in the Conference of State Ministries in charge of Youth Affairs and Sports in June 1987, also by the National Advisory Committee. So a comprehensive national youth policy was first evolved and laid on the table of both the Houses of Parliament in November-December 1988 and adopted by the government. Then youth has always been, the cornerstone of Government of India. Various youth development programs were undertaken by the Union government after independence, like National Cadet Corps, National Service Scheme, Nehru Yuva Kendra Sangathan, and the schemes for financial assistance to NGOs engaged in youth development bear ample testimony to this fact. However, the main features of the policies that the youth have the right as well as an obligation to participate actively in shaping the destiny of the nation. It emphasized the need to create increasing opportunities for them to develop their personalities and their functional capability, and thus make them economically more productive and socially useful. A Committee for National Youth Program was also set up as per the guidelines of National Youth Policy with the Prime Minister as its chairperson, which led to the formation of National Level Committee constituted with the Department of Youth Affairs and Sports for preparation of a national perspective plan for the youth 1996-2020 with following references: to examine the constitutional, legal, social and administrative provision that have a bearing on the status of the youth, their education, development, employment, leisure time and recreations. Then to consider the youth scenario in the country and recommend development measures for mainstreaming the youth and making them functionally effective, efficient, economically productive and socially integrated. Then to recommend steps and measures for the development empowerment of youth in the areas of health, education, training, employment and participations. And lastly, to prepare a national perspective plan for the youth till 2020 with an appropriate strategy of implementation. However, a little bit I'll talk about, very briefly, I'll talk about the various policies and then we'll discuss the schemes. The National Youth Policy of 2003 replaced the erstwhile National Youth Policy of 1988, and this policy reiterates the commitment of the entire nation to the composite and all-round development of the youth. The Trust Policy enters on youth empowerment in different spheres of national life, and this policy defined youth as a person in the age group of 13 to 35 years. It also aims to ensure the effective pursuit of youth development programs which promote personality development and qualities of citizenship and enhance commitment to community service, social justice, self-reliance, national integration and humanism, and exclusive of the entire universe as enshrined in our ancient scriptures. So the objective of this National Youth Policy of 2003 were to instill in the youth large and abiding awareness of and adherence to the secular principles and values enshrined in the Constitution of India, with unswerving commitment to patriotism, national security, national integration, non-violence and social justice. Then develop qualities of citizenship and dedication to community service among all sections of the youth. Then to promote awareness amongst the youth in the fields of Indian history and heritage, art and culture. Then to provide the youth with proper educational and training opportunities, and to facilitate access to information in respect of employment opportunities and to other services including entrepreneurial guidance and financial credit. Then to facilitate access for all sections of the youth to health information and services, and to promote a social environment which strongly inhibits the use of drugs and other form of substance abuse, ward of diseases like HIV, AIDS, ensures measures for de-addiction and mainstreaming of the affected person, and enhances the availability of sports and recreational facilities as constructive outlets for the abundant energy of the youth. And then to promote a major participatory role for the youth in the protection and preservation of nature, including natural resource, to channelize their abundant energies in community service so as to improve the environment and foster a scientific, inquisitive reasoning and rational attitude in the younger generations, and to encourage the youth to undertake such travel excursions as would better acquaint them with cultural harmony amidst diversity in India and overseas. Then the National Youth Policy of 2014. The National Youth Policy of 2014 reiterates the commitment of the entire nation to all-round development of the youth of India, so that they can realize their full potential and contribute productively to the nation building process. The National Youth Policy of 2014 was launched in February 2014, replacing the earlier policy of 2003, and it has been finalized after extensive consultations with all the stakeholders. The policy defines youth as a person in the age group of 15 to 29 years, and it proposes a holistic vision for the youth of India, which is to empower youth of country to achieve their full potential, and through them enable India to find its rightful place in the community of nations. And in order to realize this vision, the NYP 2014 identifies 5 clearly defined objectives which has to be pursued, and the certain 11 priority areas under each objective. So the objectives and priority areas identified are as follows. The objectives of NYP 2014 is create a productive workforce that can make a sustainable contribution to India's economic development, then develop a strong and healthy environment, healthy generation equipped to take on future challenges. Thirdly, instill social values and promote community service to build national ownership. Then facilitate participation and civic engagement at all levels of governance, and then support youth at risk, create equitable opportunity for all disadvantaged and marginalized youths. Then there are certain priority areas under this: education, employment and skill development and entrepreneurship, then health and healthy lifestyles and sports, promotion of social values, community engagement, participation in governance and politics and youth engagement, and then lastly inclusion and social justice. recognizing the need, recognizing the need for the imperative need for this skill development. The national skill development policy was also formulated in 2009, and given the vast paradigm shift in the skilling and entrepreneurship ecosystem in the country, and the experience gained through implementation of various skill development programs, a need was felt to revisit the existing policy to align the policy framework with the emerging trends in the national and international milieu. Then accordingly, thus government framed the national policy for skill development and entrepreneurship in 2015. So the primary objective of this policy was to meet the challenge of skilling at scale with speed, standard quality and sustainability. It also aimed to provide an umbrella framework to all skilling activities being carried out within the country, to align them to common standards and link skilling with demand centers. In addition to laying down the objectives and expected outcomes, the policy also defines the overall institutional framework which will act as a vehicle to reach the expected outcomes. The national skill development and entrepreneurship, the core objective of this policy was to empower the individual by enabling him or her for the full potential through a process of lifelong learning, where competencies are accumulated via instruments such as credible certifications, credit certifications, credit accumulation and transfer. As individuals grow, the society and nation also benefit from their productivity and growth. So the policy framework has been developed to accomplish the vision of Skill India by adhering to the objectives, that is the framework outlines major 11 paradigms and enablers, aspiration. These are the, these aspiration and advocacy, capacity, quality, synergy, mobilization and engagement, global partnerships, outreach, ICT, enablement, trainers and assessors, inclusivity and promotion of skilling among women to achieve these objectives of Skill India. Had been a lot of initiatives, a lot of programs for youth in India. First, if I talk about, the progress had been made so far. The National Young Leaders Program, a new central scheme, namely National Young Leaders Program, was formulated by the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports in 2014-15 with a view to develop leadership qualities among the youth, and the scheme aims at developing leadership qualities among the youth to enable them to realize the full potential and in the process to contribute to the nation building. It also aims at motivating the youth to strive for excellence in their respective fields and to bring them to the forefront of the development process, and it seeks to harness the immense energy for nation building. And these are the following components of the program, that is Neighborhood Youth Parliament. Under this program, the platform of youth clubs is being developed further in the shape of vibrant neighborhood youth parliament, and the aim is to educate the youth club members about contemporary socio-economic development issues confronting village communities in general and the youth in particular, and to involve them in debate, discussions, deliberations of significant issues and problems. Then Youth for Development Program. The objective of the program is to channelize the immense youth energy towards nation building by involving them in Shramdam, that is voluntary labor, in order to develop the personality and leadership qualities of the youth and promote a spirit of dignity of labor. The National Young Leaders Award, the objective is to motivate the youth to strive for excellence in their respective fields by recognizing and rewarding their outstanding work. Then National Youth Advisory Council, the objective of setting up such a council was to seek active involvement of the youth leaders as well as other stakeholders in the decision making process on the youth related issues. So NYAC is to advise the ministries, departments on youth related initiatives or issues. And then National Youth Development Fund, the objective of this National Youth Development Fund is to mobilize funds for from non-budgetary resources also for youth development. So far, NYKS, that is has organized around 509 youth parliaments programs at block level. It has also organized 16,392 village level neighborhood youth parliament programs, and it has been functioning all over Indian subcontinent. Then Nehru Yuva Kendra Sangathan. The Nehru Yuva Kendra Sangathan, launched in 1972, is one of the biggest and largest youth organizations. In fact, NYKS currently has about 8.5 million youth enrolled through 3.0 lakh youth clubs, Mahila Mandals. NYKS, that is Nehru Yuva Kendra, has presence in 623 districts through Nehru Yuva Kendras. So the objective of this program is to develop the personality and leadership qualities of the youth and to engage them in nation building activities. And the focus activities include literacy and education, health and family welfare, sanitation and nation building activities, cleanliness, environment conservation, awareness on social issues, women empowerment, rural development, skill development, self-employment, entrepreneurship development, civic education, disaster relief, rehabilitation, and so on. And the programs and activities carried out by Nehru Yuva Kendra's Sangathan can be broadly classified into core programs, and under the core programs there is a youth club development program, training on youth leadership and community development, theme-based awareness and education program, promotion of sports, skill upgradation training program, promotion of folk art and culture, observance of days of national and international importance, district youth convention and Yuva Kriti, and awards to outstanding youth clubs. Then programs organized with the funding from NYPED, National Program for Youth and Adolescent Development. Under this, there is a National Integration Camps, Youth Leadership and Personality Development Program, Life Skill Training for Adolescents and Adventure Camps. Then programs are also organized in collaboration with funding from other ministries organizations like Tribal Youth Exchange Program. The program is being organized every year in collaboration with and funding from the Ministry of Home Affairs. And in this program, tribal youths are taken to the other parts of the country to sensitize them to rich cultural heritage of the country, to expose them to developmental activities, and to enable them to develop emotional linkages with the people in other parts of the country. Then Adolescent Health and Development Program. This program is being organized with funding from UNFPA. The objective of the project is to empower out of school adolescents with life skills focused experiential learning on reproductive and sexual health issues in a gender sensitive manner. Then linkages with educational and skill building institutions for better employability and improved access to youth friendly and gender sensitive services in public and private sector. Then projects on awareness and education for prevention of drug abuse and alcoholism in Punjab. The Ministry of Social Justice Empowerment, Government of India has sanctioned 2 projects, namely project for sustaining the pilot project of awareness and education for the prevention of drug abuse and alcoholism in 10 districts of Punjab at a cost of 2.91 crores, and project of awareness and education for prevention of drug abuse and alcoholism in remaining 11 districts of Punjab at a cost of 3.27 crore for implementing through NYKS. Then National Service Scheme. National Service Scheme was introduced in 1969 with the primary objective of developing this personality and character of student youth through voluntary community service. Education through service is the purpose of the NSS, and the ideological orientation of NSS is inspired by the ideals of Mahatma Gandhi. The precise nature of activities continues to evolve in response to the needs of the community. Some areas in which NSS volunteer works are education, health, family and sanitation, environment, conservation, social service programs, and etc. Beside the core activities, NSS volunteers also participate in other important activities like Republic Day camps, Republic Day parade camps, adventure camps, NSS mega camps, and Northeast festivals, etc. and all that. Then we have Rajiv Gandhi National Institution of Youth Development. Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development in Tamil Nadu is an institute of national importance under the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India. This was set up in 1993 as a society under the Societies Registration Act. This was set up under the Societies Registration Act of 1975, was conferred the status of deemed university under de novo category in 2008, and it functions as a vital resource center with its multifaceted functions of offering academic programs at postgraduate level encompassing various dimensions of youth development, engaging in seminal research in the vital areas of youth development, and conducting training, capacity building programs in the area of youth development. So, besides the extension and outreach initiatives across the country, as Apex Institute at the national level, it works in close cooperation with NSS, NYKS and other youth organizations in the country. And the vision of this Rajiv Gandhi National Institute Youth Development is to be globally recognized and acclaimed center of academic excellence in the field of youth development. Then the National Program for Youth and Adolescent Development. This is an umbrella scheme of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, under which financial assistance is provided to government, non-government organizations for taking up activities for youth and adolescent development. And this scheme is operational from April 2008. The assistance under NYPD is provided under 5 major components, that is youth leadership and personality development training, promotion of national integration, national integration camp, interstate youth exchange program, youth festivals, multicultural activities, etc., promotion of adventure, Tenzing Norgay National Adventure Awards, then development and empowerment of adolescents, life skill education, counseling, career guidance, etc. Then technical and resource development, research and studies on youth issues, documentation, seminars, workshops. The beneficiaries are youth in the age groups of 15 to 29 years and adolescents in the age group of 10 to 19 years. And during 2015-16, total assistance of 20.40 crores were given to the various organizations. Then there had been construction of youth hostels to promote youth travel and to enable the young people to experience the rich cultural heritage of the country. The construction of youth hostels is a joint venture of the central and state governments. While the central government bears the cost of construction, the state governments provide fully developed land free of cost with water supply, electricity connection and approach roads. Youth hostels are located in areas of historical and cultural value, in education centers, in tourist destination, and youth hostels, they provide good accommodation for the youth at reasonable rates. So far 83 youth hostels have been constructed across the country, and one more youth hostel at Roing is advanced, almost about to complete. Then assistant to scouting and guiding organizations. The scheme of assistance to scouting and guiding organizations was launched in 1980s to promote the scout and guide movement in the country, and this is a national movement aimed at building character, confidence, idealism and spirit of patriotism and service among young boys and girls. The activities inter alia include programs related to adult literacy, environment conservation, community service, health awareness and promotion of hygiene and sanitation. And under the scheme, financial assistance has to be provided to scouting and guiding organizations for various programs such as organization of training camps, skill development programs, as well as holding of jamborees. However, till 2015-16, the Department of Youth Affairs, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports was implementing 10 scheme program for the welfare of youth. And however, all the scheme implemented by the departments has been restructured into 3 schemes with effect from 1st April 2016 for better synergy and more effective utilization of resources. The details are like Nehru Yuva Sangathan Kendra, National Youth Corps, National Program for Youth and Adolescent Development, International Cooperation, Youth hostels, assistance to guiding and scouting organizations, national discipline scheme, as well as young young leader programs. They have been and they have been all merged into the umbrella scheme called the Rashtriya Yuva Sashakti Karyakram. And then national service scheme remains the same, that is national service scheme, and Rajiv Gandhi National Youth Employment is just the Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development, is just the same institute. Then there are certain skill development programs of youth. Manrega, the government has formulated a project for livelihood in full employment under Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, Project Life Manrega in April 2015, aiming at promoting self-reliance and improving the skill base of Manrega workers, thereby converting them from being assetless, helpless, unskilled workers dependent on government support into fully employed entities with enhanced income. Then DDU-GKY, Ministry of Rural Development, has undertaken Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gramin Kaushal Yojana, placement-linked skill development scheme for rural youth under National Rural Livelihood Mission, and this scheme primarily targets skilling of unemployed youth to improve their employability rather than to create or generate employment, is uniquely focused on rural youth between the ages of 15 to 35 from coming from poor families. As part of the Skill India campaign, it plays an instrumental role in supporting the social and economic programs of the government like Make in India, Digital India, Smart Cities and Startup India. This program is present in 21 states and union territories across 568 districts, impacting youth from 6,215 blocks. Then this is DAWA NRLM Ajivika, that is National Rural Livelihood Mission, was launched by the Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India in 2011, and this mission aims at creating efficient and effective institutional platforms for the rural poor, enabling them to increase household income through sustainable livelihood enhancements and improved access to financial services. There are certain, however, in November 2015, the program was renamed like Deen Dayal Anantyodaya Yojana, and the objectives are creation of productive workforce, strengthening and diversifying livelihood opportunities, Mahila Kisan Shashактikaran Pariyojana, skill training and placement support, rural entrepreneurship development through RACTI and Startup of Village Entrepreneurship Program. Then the Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program has been launched by Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises in 2008-9 with the emerging of the erstwhile Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana and Rural Employment Generation Program schemes. This scheme is a credit-linked subsidy program aimed at generating self-employment opportunities through establishment of micro-enterprises in the non-farm sector by helping traditional artisans and unemployed youth. Then the main objectives are to generate employment opportunities in rural as well as urban areas, to bring together widely dispersed traditional artisans, rural and urban unemployed youth, and give them self-employment opportunities to the extent possible at their place. Then to provide continuous and sustainable employment to a large segment of traditional and prospective artisans and rural and urban unemployed youth, and to increase the wage earning capacity of the artisans. Then there are certain activities which have been taken under this scheme and this program. These are mentioned like agro-based food processing industry, forest-based industry, mineral-based industry, polymer and chemical-based industry, then rural engineering, biotechnological industry, handmade paper and fiber industry, and the service and textile industry. So at national level, Khadi and Village Industries Commission is the single nodal agency for the implementation of this program, and at the state level, the scheme is being implemented through state directorates of KVIC, the state Khadi and village industry boards and district industry centers of the state governments. Then enterprise and skill development, the Office of Development Commissioner of Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise conducts a large number of vocational entrepreneurship development programs, and the entrepreneurship development program are conducted through MSME development institutes with focus on entrepreneurial skill development, coupled with specific skills relating to trade, electronics, electrical, food processing, which enables to start their own ventures, and this include entrepreneurship development programs and entrepreneurial skill development programs, management development programs, industrial motivation campaigns, and vocational and educational training. If you talk about the entrepreneurship development programs, it is being organized regularly to nurture the talent of youth by enlightening them by enlightening them on various aspects of industrial activity required for setting up of micro and small enterprises, and these are generally conducted in polytechnics and institutes. Then you have this entrepreneurial skill development program, which is a comprehensive training program which are organized to upgrade the skills of prospective entrepreneurs, existing workforce, and also develop skills of new workers and technicians of MSCs by organizing various technical come skill development training program with the basic objectives to provide training for their skill upgradation and to equip them with better improved technological skills of production. And then the management development program, this the objective of this program is to improve the decision making capabilities of existing and potential entrepreneurs, resulting in higher productivity and profitability. And then you have industrial motivation campaigns are organized to identify and motivate traditional, non-traditional entrepreneurs having potential for setting up of MSCs so as to lead them towards self-employment. And lastly, vocational and educational training, the regional testing centers, field testing stations, and autonomous bodies like tool rooms and technology development centers of the Ministry of, they conduct long-term and short-term field-specific and industry-specific tailor-made courses and vocational programs. Then assistance to training institution scheme. This scheme envisages financial assistance for the establishment of new institutions, strengthening the infrastructure of the existing EDIs, and for supporting entrepreneurships and skill development activities. The main objectives of the scheme and development of indigenous entrepreneurship from all walks of life for developing new micro and small enterprises, enlarging the entrepreneurial base and encouraging self-employment in rural as well as urban areas by providing training to first-generation entrepreneurs and assisting them in setting up of enterprises. And they are assistance is also provided under under the scheme. Assistance is provided to existing and new training institutions for the establishments of entrepreneurship development and strengthening of the training infrastructure on a matching basis. The assistance is for creation of infrastructure, and financial assistance is for construction of building, purchase, training aids equipment, office equipment, computers, and etc. Assistance is also provided under the scheme to existing training institutions for conducting entrepreneurship development programs, entrepreneurship cum skill development programs, and training of trainers. And some of these institutions are national level EDIs, training institutions established by partner institutions of national levels, training incubation centers, training cum incubation centers set up by the franchisees, and other training institutes with proven finance professional competencies. Then Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. The Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana was launched in 2015 on the occasion of World Youth Skills Day. Is the flagship scheme, and it is a flagship scheme of Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. PMVKVI is implemented by National Skill Development Corporation under the guidance of MSDE with the vision of Skilled India. MSDE aims to skill India on a large scale with speed and high standards, and the objective of the skill certification scheme is to enable a large number of Indian youth to take up industry relevant skill training that will help them in securing a better livelihood. Individuals with prior learning experience or skills will also be assessed and certified under recognition of prior learning. And under this scheme, training and assessment fees are completely paid by the government, and the government has now approved the scheme for another 4 years to impart skilling to 10 million youth of the country. Then Udaan. Udaan is a special industry initiative for Jammu and Kashmir in the nature of partnership between the corporates of India and Ministry of Home Affairs, and implemented by National Skill Development Corporation. And the program aims to provide skill training and enhance the employability of unemployed youth of Jammu and Kashmir. The scheme covers graduates, postgraduates, and 3-year engineering diploma holders. I will stop here and I will continue in my next lecture. Thank you.